You'll find them in our clubhouse, down our hallways, on our courses, and in our hearts. Champions of the game. Champions for the game. Some of them are still challenging our courses today, and even those who no longer walk our fairways still remain a part of this storied resort. Because in play, they found eternal youth, and in Pinehurst, they found eternity. What's now considered hallowed ground began more than a century ago, as land stripped of everything that gave it value. It took a true visionary like Pinehurst founder James Walker Tufts to see not what was there, but what could be. Then came the genius of Scotsman Donald Ross, who would go on to design more than 400 courses across America, some that he never saw, but one that he never left. Pinehurst No. 2 was his life's greatest work. He made his home just off the 3rd green, where he continued to rework the bunkers and shape the greens until his death in 1948. During his lifetime, Ross not only saw the beginnings of the fame Pinehurst would come to know, he laid the groundwork. In preparation for the 1936 PGA Championship, Ross transformed the sand greens to grass, and land that once welcomed only grazing cattle now welcomed meetings of mythic proportions. Ben Hogan would claim his first professional win at Pinehurst, beating Sam Snead by 3 strokes in the 1940 North and South Open. 11 years later, Hogan and Snead would meet again on the fairways of Pinehurst, not as rivals, but as teammates for the United States in the 1951 Ryder Cup matches at Pinehurst. As the stars and stripes were raised next to the Union Jack, the American team took to the course and never looked back, and thousands of fans clamored to watch as the American team received both their trophy and their place in history. Fans gathered once again for the 1985 North and South Amateur, as the great Jack Nicklaus enjoyed one of the most satisfying wins of his career without ever picking up a club. This time, the Golden Bear stood in the shadows of his son and watched him earn a Potter Boy trophy of his own. No other tournament in Pinehurst history, however, would match the level of excitement that surrounded the 1999 U.S. Open, as Pinehurst took its place on the center stage of golf. This championship would see some of the greatest players in the world falter time and again as they challenged the infamous crowned greens. Frustrations mounted as they faced what Donald Ross called the fairest test of golf. With the pressure intensifying, the final round arrived with only one player under par. By the 16th hole, 3 players were still in contention. Tiger was on the prowl and had pulled within 1 shot of the lead, but a bogey on the 17th meant the championship could no longer be his, leaving the strong and steady Phil Mickelson and Payne Stewart to battle it out until the very last hole. As the crowd held its breath, Stewart set up for a 15-foot putt, and when the ball rolled in, he thrust his fist into the air, a pose now immortalized in bronze. This single moment in time would mark the peak of one of golf's most esteemed competitors and prove to be one of the most dramatic finishes in U.S. Open history. Only 6 years later, Pinehurst No. 2 would again welcome the greatest players in the game and thousands of their fans. This time, it was a Cinderella story as young unknown Jason Gore stepped into the spotlight. Gore was a fast crowd favorite through the 3rd round and found himself vying for the lead with ice-veined defending champion Retief Goosen. Goosen had separated himself from the field and appeared to be well on his way to a 3rd U.S. Open championship. But as Sunday afternoon arrived, those players who had captivated both the media and the fans slipped from the top of the leaderboard. while New Zealand's Michael Campbell never lost focus. He quietly and steadily played shot by shot and hole by hole, seemingly oblivious to the increasing pressure. And with a 4-day total of even par, Campbell found himself on the 18th green realizing his dream of becoming the next U.S. Open champion. On that day, in that place, he was the best there was, a champion among champions. While accomplishments are forever, moments are fleeting. And just as great golfers look ahead to future championships, we look forward to continuing the championship tradition at Pinehurst with the return of the U.S. Amateur in 2008. Because the next opportunity for greatness is just 18 holes away. And whether you're challenging the greatest in the world, a few of your friends, or your own personal best, all who play Pinehurst share one thing: the pure, true, and simple love of a timeless game.